a massive horror fan, I love that this like lent into the grimy, I guess, like almost like exploitation of the 70s. And I wanted to ask both of you, I guess, like what was the like horror gateway movie for both of you, the one that sort of like got you into the genre, or are you into the genre?
I always say this, but my very first, like one of my first childhood memories is seeing Nightmare on Elm Street. When I was up past my bedtime, I snuck into the hallway. My mom was watching it in the living room, and I just sat in the hall, enamored, sneaking and watching the movie. Unlike other little kids, it didn't scare me, and that's when my horror obsession began.
I saw Chucky when I was like 8 years old, and my uncle was watching me, and he put it on and left the room. And I think I had uh, Max knows this. I had Chucky nightmares till I was like 14, and as a kid became like obsessed with that feeling because my parents wouldn't let me watch scary movies. So like at other kids' house, I was obsessed with watching them, and that like terrifying feeling of being like, I want to leave the room, but I'm trapped. Uh,
Feel like it's always it's like yeah, I feel like everybody sees a horror movie far too young. There's always like a friend's house involved in some sort of ways. I completely understand that. And I wanted to ask you first, Fabian, because I know like you're like Macy just endures so much in this. I guess like how did you avoid playing her, I guess like purely as a victim?
um, I think that well, when I first read the script, that was important to me. And Rod, has like quite a love for the women in his life, and actually like wrote this somewhat from that perspective. So we were
Mhm.
both on the same page of like wanting to find uh levels within her. And I just think that like all film is kind of rhythm and tone, and it's the shape of a story and the shape of a character. And so I tried to map that out to some degree before going in so that it wasn't all just one note, which it could be.
Mhm. And that's, like, because Dolly isn't just a killer. Like, there's like this really like warped emotional drive there, I guess. Like, how did you humanize someone so like monstrous without softening them?
Well, I'm really interested in like true crime, and I honestly have some family history with some trauma. And there's this case of this girl named Jeannie who was abused and like locked in a closet and strapped to a chair. And I was just thinking, like when I read the script, it just sounded like Dolly was more complex and Dolly might have been neglected. And there's this innocence about Dolly, and they're just, Dolly is just doing what they think is right, not necessarily trying, you know, to harm anyone.
It was quite interesting, like watching it being like, yes, what Dolly is doing is like horrific, but yeah, you can see that there's like you want to like almost like sympathize with the character because it's like they're like it's not of their doing, so to speak. So and like when I guess like when you're both working together, I guess like did you rehearse together extensively to I guess like build your dynamic, or did you kind of keep distance to like preserve the tension?
We definitely didn't keep distance, and we didn't really rehearse. I think we just had good chemistry, and we both understood our roles, and that's just how it played out. At least my perspective of that.
I think that we also we had a really incredible stunt coordinator, and like Max comes from the wrestling world, so they understood the physical demands, and we were shooting on film. So we did rehearse the scenes before, but the ones that we spent, I think, the most time on were the more stunt or physical scenes. Uh, but a version of, you know, preparation is just spending time together. And I think that Max and I spent a good enough time together just as friends that it
Mm. And like obviously you watch a film like this and you sort of think like it's intense, it's like harrowing, it's like it's one of those like full body performances from both of you. I guess like is there a decompression at the end of the day in this sort of situation.
I mean, there was a day where Max and I spent our lunch eating pizza with IV drips
Yeah.
part of the day.
They did gift us a massage too, I think, if I recall. But that wasn't every day. That was like a once thing, I think. I don't remember, but I remember a massage for sure, and that was amazing. Me personally, it's the same with wrestling. I'm kind of a really introverted person, so by the time filming was done and we were done shooting, I just needed to go away and be alone and just decompress because as an introvert, it takes a lot out of me to be such an intense character and put so much energy and emotion. So like I would just go back to my room and chill and decompress and not really talk to anyone until it was time to go again.
Also, we went home and ate dinner and slept, and then we're getting picked up again for
Yeah.
Well, I can see like it's wild how like because obviously Max like just behind the mask for so much of the film, and yet there's such a performance that comes through. It was really quite incredible to watch, and I guess like because there is something so deeply like unsettling about the idea of someone abducting a person to raise them. I guess like did you both have conversations in how you approach that, I guess, without it turning into caricature?
I mean, I think that would be like maybe more, I don't know. I guess both of our characters could go that way. But I remember you came in with a lot of physical ideas of how you wanted to portray Dolly's like nervousness and Dolly's tics and her feelings with your physical gesture. Like I remember being witness to that, and that probably comes from your wrestling world.
Yeah, and back to Jeannie, that and the inspiration from her. I just I just remember feeling the whole time that I wanted it to be a different kind of horror movie and not I guess my issue with horror lately is gore for gore and no real story, so I wanted it to be something that actually made people think and think differently about a slasher or a monster for once.
I'll definitely say that like as much as this film had gore and some of it was like we'll just say obviously like the jaw moment was like something, but I
Jaw
did
dropping.
yeah, but I did appreciate that this, like, yeah, that this wasn't a film that was like, we're just going to bank solely on this. Like you actually, you truly cared, like for both of your characters. It was really quite weird, like watching it going like, well, obviously I want Macy to survive, but then you're like, oh, but there's just, you can tell that there's so much that Dolly has had happen to them that it's like is it like a nature versus nurture sort of thing. It was really quite interesting to watch, and yeah, as someone who just loves horror and is always excited when like we get a new horror film, and the way that this was like honoring like films from the 70s, but at the same time it was very much its own thing. And I'm about to speak to Rod soon, so it's like it'll be great to get that perspective. But yeah, as I said, like it's amazing to have any film being made, to have it out in the cinemas is just like at this time. So I just want to thank both of you so much for taking the time out of your morning to chat with me. This was I had so much fun with it. So thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.